Very good morning to our listeners. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Steve van Saal. I'm the National Technical Manager at IOPSA. As you mentioned, my co-host Steve Brown and Herman Strauss. Let's just have a look at a few tips on how to curb the spread of COVID-19. Together we can make a difference. Let's just quickly run through this. Always wear a mask when out in public. Wash your hands with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze with a flexed elbow guards. And if you're using a tissue, please remember to throw that away in a bin. Clean and disinfect frequently used objects that have been touched. So today's topic is basically the appeal to SABS. I'm going to have a chat about that. I'm going to look at the current DSS, which is out for public comment. And before we go there, I just want to just mention that throughout the past several months, there's been a lot of comments and discussion on social media regarding the proposed changes to SANS 10254. Now, as we know, for those who don't, SANS 10254 is a safety and also an installation standard for the installation, maintenance, replacement, and repair of fixed storage water heaters. IOPSA is a member of the SABS technical committee, or a special committee, which is, I'm not too sure if it's important, but the reference to that committee is TC038 Subcommittee 01, which is responsible for SANS 10254. And in terms of the code of conduct, we've unfortunately not been able to comment in the public domain. Now that DSS is out for public comment, obviously there's been an opportunity for us to give you a bit of feedback on what's been happening. Just to kick off, before I move into my next slide, I want to say to you, IOPSA has always been in favor of the inclusion of a certificate of compliance and has supported the need for a professional body for plumbers. You may be asking, well, why? We have seen how dramatically the quality of installations have declined over the years as a direct result of the massive number of unqualified plumbers, guys, that are operating unchecked in our industry. Not only are these unqualified plumbers had a dramatic effect on the plumber's ability to sustain their business, I think you can agree public health and safety is also at risk with unsafe installations. Today's session is an overview and to inform you that we've an appeal to the CEO of SABS and the reasons behind this. So please accept right up front that I'll not be discussing the entire appeal document with you guys. I'll be sharing some of the stuff as it's currently under review and consideration. We are very confident that we will have a positive outcome within the next 30 days, or will I ever share a few key points in the presentation, as I say, that has led up to the submission. So I think just to kick off, let's explain the background of what the law allows and what the process should be. So there is a Standards Act, which is of 2008, which governs the basically writing of standards. Within writing standards, there's a national norm, and that's basically how do we write a standard. There's an ARP 013, which tells us or guides us as to the structure of a standard. I think what I need to try and explain or highlight today is that there are principles. Standards are written by representative committees, and decisions are made based on consensus, and the requirements must be for the good of all parties. So you'll see I've highlighted representatives of committees are the guys that write those standards. Consensus is important. It needs to be the good of all parties. So let's have a look first quickly what's out for public comment. So if you see red, that's the DSS. They've asked to delete some amendments without replacing anything in its place. Remember that SABS has decided on this change based on their opinion, and that such a requirement should not be in the standard. Currently in the standard, there's a section 3.3 that makes reference to a professional body for plumbers, which is the Plumbing Industry and Registration Board. And the other point that they've asked for deletion without including anything else or putting anything else in its place is on the completion of the installation, a certificate of compliance from the professional body for plumbers registered in terms of the relevant national legislation shall be issued to the owner of the installation or to the body requiring such a certificate. Ladies and gents, if this is removed, it's going to be a huge step back if implemented. It is out for public comment, and I will be talking to that a little bit later in my slides. Obviously, this what you see is being proposed, and public need to now comment on it. But before we go there, I think it's important that I show you or discuss the hierarchy as defined in the national norm. I think let's just start right on the top. So there's a CEO, there's a standards approval committee, and then obviously you've got some TC committees. And remember, there's various standards. I think, if I remember, there's thousands of standards, but you'll have a technical committee, and then below the technical committee, you'll have specialist committee, you'll have working groups. And if you look at the bottom, this specific document, or this is lying at SABS TC038 subcommittee 01. Moving you back to the top left-hand corner, I just want to draw your attention to that the Standards Approval Committee has certain responsibilities for governance. They appoint members of the TC and the subcommittee. They need to guide the TC and subcommittee. They approve recommendations by the TC and the special committee, and they also monitor the performance of those technical committees and subcommittees. It is very, very important that I just talk slowly on the following point. There's no allowance made for the Standards Approval Committee to make any decision on the content of a standard. And that role really lies at the TC and the special committee. And that's defined in the national norms. And unfortunately, SABS also has to abide by that. So let's just take a minute to have a look at the process of amending a standard. So it's just quite a high overview of it. There's a proposal to amend a standard. Now, remember, this is normal part of the process. All standards are undergo reviews, amendments. It's normal. The TC will then agree to proceed on those proposals made. They will establish, for example, there's a working group. The TC will work on it. They'll compile a draft. They'll debate it. And at one point, the TC needs to then come to a vote, consensus, and they say, well, look, at this point, let's send it out for DSS circulation. Let's see what the public have to say. Let's listen to what they want to say. And then that is taken into consideration. The public comments then are addressed. So it comes back, they look at it, they work through it. And at one point, it gets to amendment, and the standard is eventually published. So what I'd like to just highlight to you at this stage, we're sitting here at DSS, which is circled in red. So that's where it's at the moment, the document. The proposal the proposal to amend was accepted. The TC agreed to proceed with the document, but unfortunately, two vital steps have also not happened, if I can use those words. So the TC and the working group have not compiled the draft. They have not reached consensus. They've not decided. They've not voted. But yet there's been a decision to move this to a DSS circulation for public comment. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why is this steps missing? Or where did this go wrong? Let me try and explain this to you, okay? Give me a second, I'm just trying to flick to my next screen. Sorry guys, just bear with me, I'm just trying to, there we go. So the proposed amendment was to remove the reference to PIRB from the standard. It's important that I draw your attention that the special committee agreed to the requirement for a COC to be issued by a professional body. It went out for public comment, as you see the DSS circulation, and the review or the comments that came back were overwhelmingly supporting the inclusion of a COC in the standard by a professional body. The debate then at that time was simply regarding the correct wording, specifically the direct reference to PIRB. Now, IOPSA at that point was fully, and we are still fully in support of removing this reference in the standard in favor of a professional body to allow for other professional bodies also to be included. This then resulted in a question by the committee. Could there be more than one professional body for plumbers? A member of the committee was of the strong opinion that this was definitely not allowed. And others said it's possible. It's clearly defined in SAQRA's policy and criteria and recognition for professional bodies. So guys, in the spirit of reaching consensus on the matter, the special committee, of which we are part, all agreed for SABS to get a legal opinion on a specific question so that the special committee would get clarity first of all, and then proceed with that document. I'd just like to, at this point, maybe just share with you, and I hope I can populate it. Just give me a second. There we go. A snippet of what SACWA policy and criteria actually mentions. Now, I want to say to you before I even read this to you, my intention is not to convince anyone. The answer is evident and the answer is clear. There can be more than one professional body within this reference. So I'll read it to you. I know it's a little bit small and I do apologize to our audience. So it says proliferation of professional bodies, so proliferation, more than one professional bodies within the same community of practice will be discouraged. And then here's the big one, but will be balanced with the recognition that healthy competition and freedom of association should not be impeded. In cases where more than one professional body for a specific community of practice applies for recognition by SACWA, that's telling me that you can apply. The following will be considered. And obviously there's some criteria behind this, guys. We're not going to go into detail. I think it's evident there can be one, you can apply, but obviously you need to jump and make sure that you also comply with all the other terms and conditions and all the requirements that may be in place. What is important, however, it says that no additional professional bodies will be recognized by SACWA in a sector in which a professional body has been established through the Act of Parliament. So there's non-statutory and statutory body. I think it's important that maybe you just remember that statutory body, no additional. Non-statutory, there is the opportunity for more than one to apply. So it was later established that IPA, a member of the special committee, lodged a complaint to SABS after this meeting. Remember, we all agreed to first, IPA lodged a complaint to SABS. This was after the meeting had concluded and after we all agreed that let's get this one vital question out of the way so we can proceed and get this document rolling and out for public comment. Unfortunately, that document that that complaint that was sent to SABS resulted in this normal process being disrailed. If I can use the word, it was unprocedurally disrailed at this specific point. So, guys, what resulted? Remember, the proposed amendment was to remove the reference to PIRB from the standard. What resulted from this is that SAC then provided a legal opinion on matters that were not really requested by the committee. Remember, as I said, the special committee all agreed, let's get clarity on that one question. Can more than one professional body? Can there be more than one professional body? The legal opinion by SABS was very loose, just want to say that, and incomplete, made a lot of statements without providing evidence to support those kind of statements. IOPSA responded by providing a full or complete legal document asking after seeking legal advice to that. And after the committee meeting was held, or there was a further committee meeting, so the subcommittee discussed the legal opinions, but then it was basically a case that the chairman then at that point said, no, I think what he initiated was, let's take these two legal opinions and rather refer them to SAC to decide. Now, guys, ladies and gents, I'll ask you the question. How do you decide between two parties' legal opinions if one of those parties' legal opinions is in fact yours and you're going to be making a decision on? Importantly, SAC decided in favor of their own legal opinion and took it upon themselves to decide what will happen in the standard and then obviously proceeded to ask for public comment. The national norm, I just want to state, does not give such power to SAC. And this has obviously led to the reasons for our appeal. So if we have a look on the right-hand side there, so SAC made the following decisions, and it was on the 6th of June, and they're saying that subclause 3.3, as per my first or second slide, or third slide, was delete this with no replacement, and subclause 4.1.14, delete that with no replacement. Just want to move to my next slide. And I'm just want to mention that, and guys and ladies and gents, I've only highlighted a few key governance points here today. There are many, many more governance issues which we've highlighted to the CEO of SABS I think it's a 37+ page appeal that we have submitted. If you see on the bottom there, just to show you. I'm sorry, can I just repeat that? So what I want to make mention of is that we have submitted an appeal that was done on the 9th of June 2021. And it's just a summary of the governance matters, the key points that I want to highlight. I'm not too sure if you heard that we have submitted a 37-page appeal to the CEO. The key governance points are: SABS did not follow the legal mandated process. The SAC usurped powers not awarded by the national norms. This prevented the committee to have the appropriate debate, make informed decisions based on facts. The decisions was made by SAC based on opinion. And remember, that was on their opinion. IOPSA appealed to the CEO and on basically two main key issues. Is withdraw the DSS process and allow the committee to resolve the requirement based on merit. Nonetheless, yes, we did. We requested DSS to be withdrawn, and I want to state this. I also believe that the matter could be finalized sooner, not undelayed, if referred back to the special committee for debate, to be decided and to reach consensus. Well, nonetheless, the draft document has been published under SAC's instructions. Before I just touch on that DSS process, I just want to share with you one more slide, and I just want to move to that slide just to give you a quick recap on what we support, what we recognize, and what we acknowledge. And basically, guys, I'm going to read this for you. IOPSA supports the need for qualified plumbers to be recognized as professionals, full stop, and that the health and safety of consumers should not be compromised. IOPSA recognizes the value of professional bodies, including work and the irreplaceable value and contribution they bring to industries. IOPSA acknowledges that the responsibility of administering ACOC must be done by a professional body for plumbing industry, registered in terms of the national legislation. IOPSA advocates and will continue to advocate that the COC has dramatically improved compliance, brought about health and safety. Plumbers' knowledge is the image of the plumbing as a professional occupation. Ladies and gents, if you look to the right-hand side there, you'll see what was the existing word in SANS 10254. On the right-hand side is so that you could just see for yourself what we have proposed as our IOPSA, what should be in there. And you just glance to the bottom right, 3.3, we stated to any professional body for the plumbing industry registered in terms of the national legislation. And obviously you can see that it's not a case of where on the left-hand side of that 3.3, it says Plumbing Industry Registration Board. It now says any professional body for plumbing. So, ladies and gents, and dear listeners, should I rather say, as it stands, IOPSA appeal is under review with the CEO of SABS. We've had our say. We've obviously placed at their doorstep. We should have a positive answer within 30 days as prescribed by the national norm. The DSS is out for public comment. And obviously now it's your turn or the public's turn. You've got a great opportunity to add your voice to those proposed changes. The second last slide, I just want to maybe just take a few minutes if I'm allowed and just say, we have a need to respect that people do have difference of opinion. People don't always agree. Others may not see things the way you and I may see it. I cannot tell you what to place in or what to comment on if you're going to decide to comment, which I hope you do. But if you do decide to voice your opinion through these comments, just consider, would the proposed amendments align to the aim and benefits of standardization? So it's a bit of a mouthful, but, for example, would it maintain and improve the quality of life of society? Is it paying attention to matters such as safety, health, and protection of the environment and the protection of the public? Would a removal of the CRC in the standard without putting anything in its place truly promote good governance and bring about accountability? Ask yourself those questions before putting your comments to task. Would the proposal maybe potentially close doors for other professional bodies also wanting to enter the market or enter the industry and bring value? On a separate note, I want to say that IOPSA has received numerous requests from plumbers and members of the public saying they want to join, or they want to place comments and they want to be part of this DSS stage, but not sure where to get the link or how to register. Others have asked, could a simple question saying, yes, I agree to the proposal, or no, I don't agree to the proposal, stand, or would that be taken into account? The short answer, ladies and gents, is that it's simple yes or no is insufficient. You need to highlight to the reader why you're in agreement or disagreement. Please elaborate a little bit more in the comments. Give the reader something to consider. It can be taken back to the committee. Example, have you considered this? This would impact me in this way, as an example. Just want to say to you, elaborate a bit more. Just on that note, we have decided to host a training session on the process and where and how to partake in the DSS stage, because obviously we're getting a lot of calls and people and public wanting to comment. Please note that that training, we haven't set the date yet, but on the top right-hand corner, if you'd like to request to give a better understanding and how you can get this link, please send me a request to join. We'll let you know when that will happen. As you see, technical@iopsa.org. I just want to stress, it's not a training session on what you must say or how you must say it. That ultimately is going to be your own comments. Ladies and gents, I'm entering into my last slide. Remember, the public comment is out for 60 days, as you see. It was sent out for circulation on the 22nd of June, and the closing date is the 24th of August. The DSS and the appeal outcome, unfortunately, will now need to play out. The outcomes will be very important to our industry's future. Unfortunately, it'll probably take some time to get to finality. Until then, we encourage you as IOPSA members and the plumbers in general to please continue to abide by the standards.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much, Steve. I think that was quite clear and straightforward. There's one thing I would like to emphasize. I know a big part of this presentation is about how everything went procedurally wrong. But I want to emphasize the fact that this is all about the merits of why the requirement should be there. Because of the procedural mistakes that the SABS made, they did not allow the committee to really debate this. In other words, the committee were never in a position to make an informed decision based on the facts at play. And that is why we made such a, why a big fuss is made about the fact that they went procedurally wrong. It's not a backdoor route to try and stop this. It is simply because the facts of the matter have not been considered, and the merits of the requirement must be considered for the best interest of the country. Thank you.